Don't you just love when two of your hobbies can come together and one can improve the experience on the other? Well, that's what today's video is all about. I do a lot of panel glue ups in this shop, and as you can see, my system for that sucks. If you can even call that a system. It's very disorganized, and in between panel glue ups, those calls are spread out all over the shop. Sometimes I'm taking those and I'm chopping off pieces for future projects. Sometimes I'm just taking that call and repurposing it all together for another project, and that's just not going to work. Anytime I have one of these panel glue ups, I just want to get right into the glue up, get it in those calls, get that glue doing its thing. But first, I'm searching all over the shop. It's wasteful, it's time consuming, it's frustrating, and quite frankly, it's ugly. So that's my typical process, and you can see these bottom riser feet here, they're definitely not long enough, especially for a panel like this. I've got way too much overhang on this side. You want these calls to be pretty much right at the end, so I need to rework this whole system. It is just completely chaotic right now. All right, let's go ahead, turn this thing on. There we go. In order for this system to be a success, there are a couple of must-haves. Number one, all these pieces must be together. They have to be in the same location, the same spot. So anytime I have any of these panel glue ups, I can just go to that spot, grab this whole kit, and start my panel glue up. Number two, all these pieces need to be dedicated to this kit, so I'm not tempted to grab a piece for another project down the road. Number three, this needs to be more useful. All these calls need to be longer so that they can accommodate these larger panel glue ups that I often do. Number four, this thing's got to be pretty. It's got to look good. And number five, the cherry on top would be if I could wall mount this right here. I've got this whole space right here, which is wasted. So I think that is the perfect spot for this system. Work was thrown away a bunch of this Unistrut. So I grabbed 6 pieces with this project in mind. All of these are 3 feet long, and I think they are perfect for this system right here. I love Unistrut because it is incredibly strong and it's versatile. It's got all these holes in the back. You can mount stuff to that or use those holes to mount this to other things. And then it has this tracking here where you can slide things along here. I won't need that feature for this kit right here, but I am going to take advantage of these holes. I think these are the perfect calls for this woodworking jig. So I think we're on the right track. Now that we've got a plan, that is well and good, but now it is time to execute that plan. It is 360 time. I'm going to jump into Fusion 360, start modeling some of those riser feet and those end caps for the strut. Let's see what we can come up with. Hopefully we can come up with something pretty awesome. So now it's time to jump into Fusion 360, and this is my favorite part about any of these 3D printed projects is designing them. I love the entire process of using Fusion 360, from taking an idea, an abstract thought that was in my head, and then creating it on this program, getting it how I want it, and then sending it over to the 3D printer and watching it come to life. It is just absolutely awesome. Once that's printed, if it's not exactly how I want it, I can jump back into Fusion 360, make a couple modifications, make a couple tweaks here and there. Then I can send it back over to the printer. This filament is pretty cheap. Some of this stuff doesn't take very long. So I can run through multiple prototypes till I get it just right. Then I can go in there, print the exact thing I want, the exact color I want, the exact filament type I want, and be left with a perfect finished product just like this. I've got an entire box of goodies over here. I've got all those 3D printed parts, and then I have a couple of extras. So I've got all my feet here that I printed. 4 of those. I've got all of my strut end caps so that I don't get cut or scraped up while I'm doing these glue ups. Got my radius guide. I've got all of my hardware here. I've got all of my rod couplings, my bolts, and my washers. Then I got a couple of extra goodies here. Onefinity sent me a care package. I'm officially a Onefinity partner. That's pretty awesome. They gave me all kinds of swag in here. I got to find a spot to hang this banner up. If you guys are interested in any of the Onefinity machines, if you click my link down below, I'll get a small percentage of that. It doesn't cost you any more, and it's a great way to support the channel, so I would appreciate that. But now let's get back to the gluing jig. All right, so I don't need this radius guide right at this moment. I can put that to the side. Got my rod coupling. I've got my riser foot. With any luck, that should slide right there into the bottom. And it does, perfect. They're not going to go anywhere. And besides, this is going to be sitting down on that wasteboard there, so no problem there. And you can see the threads. Thread those through the top, and then that'll hold the Unistrut to these feet. So I can secure the feet to that board. Throw my caps on, and we should be good to go. I got all the feet situated, ready to go. I just want to see if the Unistrut caps are going to work. They might be a little tight because I didn't file this yet. Yeah. So I do need to file these down, and then that'll allow these caps just to slide on there a little bit better. Awesome, that didn't take long at all. I got my 4 feet ready. I got my 6 piece of Unistrut ready. So I'm just going to grab that plywood, bring it over here, and I'm going to route the profile on there, and then I can just figure out which way I want this all to go, and I can continue building this. So I've got my radius guide right here, and then I've got my flush trim bit. But the problem is this bit is considered a bottom bearing, meaning you need to use this either in a router table. You're not going to be able to use this from the top because it's going to want to trace your pattern on the bottom. And I like doing this on top. I could put it on my router table over there, but I did a lot of looking online and I found something that is pretty similar to what I want. It's not the exact bit. This is a compression bit, but I did find this bit from Freud, and it has a bearing, but it's not exactly a flush trim bit in the sense of you can just run it on the side. This bearing here is 3/8 of an inch. This actual cutting head is a 1/4 inch, but it's going to work out fine for what I need. I don't really mind if there's a little bit of an offset here. If it's not this exact radius, it doesn't need to be this exact radius. So that's fine that this is going to be offset just that little bit. It's still going to put a really nice corner. So I'm going to chuck this up in here, and then I'm going to put the 4 nice rounded over corners on my sacrificial board. I want that bearing to be just cresting over. You can see it there. That's perfect. That'll ride along my template. I do know the proper way to do this is to trace that, cut it out with a jigsaw, leave a little bit left, and then go through and run your router. But I don't feel like doing it. I'm going to do it that way. So I'm just going to trace this, and then what I'll do is I'll cut on the outside of that line, and then that'll give me the best chance of this being perfect. Yes, I am using a DeWalt tool here. This is a jigsaw. I don't use this that often, so I didn't really feel the need to upgrade to the Milwaukee. But I do have an adapter that I can use my Milwaukee batteries on, so that's good at least. So for the once, twice, 3 times a year that I actually use this jigsaw, I'm just going to leave it like this. It's heavy. It's ugly because it's yellow. It's no Milwaukee, but it'll get the job done. That is perfect. That was awesome. I should have got something like this a long time ago. I do put a lot of roundovers on things, and a lot of times I'm just giving it the jigsaw, sanding it after, but I mean, this takes all the guesswork out of it. So as I'm looking at this, I don't know if I'm going to have enough meat here. This is only 1/2 inch plywood. So I'm not quite sure if I'm going to have enough meat to sink a screw through here and actually hold on to it. I know I could use bolts, but I didn't want anything to protrude through the bottom. I want this to just sit flush on my workbench. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the CNC to cut me 4 feet, which are going to be the same exact shape and size of this bottom. Then I can glue that to this piece of 1/2 inch plywood. Then I can screw through both of those, and that'll give me a lot thicker of a surface there. I don't know if it's overkill. I'm just going to do it anyway. And then while this is on the CNC, I'm just going to use that to cut that hand hole for me. That way it's real nice and pretty. So then I'm just going to create the file for the CNC. I'm going to set this in there, cut the hand holes, pull that off, and then I'll cut 4 of those feet spacers that I can glue onto here and then screw through that, and that should be absolutely perfect for this. We're getting really close to finishing this one up. Just need to figure out the spacing of all these blocks. I'm just going to set one of these feet on these spacer blocks, and then I will end up just taking the Unistrut. I'm just going to set it on here and then just figure out the spacing that I want. I don't know exactly how wide or anything I want to make these, but I'm just going to play around with this. I'm going to get the spacing, the lining up, everything I want, and then I will just screw these spacers down. Now it is time to prep the wall to hang the jig. I've got one of these really heavy duty screw-in style brackets, and I cut the end of it off. I don't want this thing to be sticking out any further than it has to. So I'm just going to drill a hole at whatever height I think is going to be good. I drilled the 2 handholds on there, so I think something like this. So I'll probably drill it, I don't know, somewhere in that range right there. I'm going to pre-drill the hole and then run this in. Then I'll be able to hang that jig right here. It'll be pretty low profile. And then I think the Unistrut, I'm just going to set in this pocket back here. Just kind of tuck it behind that jig. I think that's going to be perfect. We are really close on this one, guys. Everything is looking great. If you're interested in these, I will leave a link down in the description to my Maker World where you can print these for free. If you don't have a 3D printer or you don't want to go through any of that, I will leave a link down in the description to my Etsy store. I'll have a file where you can get the 4 risers with the rod couplings, the bolts and the washers, and the strut caps, the 12 strut caps. All you will then need to do is supply your own Unistrut. You could pick that up if you want to as well. It's a great way to support the channel and, quite frankly, to get a pretty great looking product. So I'm going to bolt down the strut. I'm going to give this a dry run. I'm going to hang it on the wall. Let's go. There we go. Everything's on there. Looks good. Something like this with an actual panel. Boom. That is awesome. That is exactly what I want. This thing is plenty big. I can actually go wider than this panel is even right now. Everything slides super easy. So I think I'm just going to put some packing tape on the face of all of these Unistrut ends here so that if I do get any glue on there, I can just peel off that packing tape and swap that out at a different time. But this is absolutely perfect right here. I got plenty enough room under here for clamps. I mean, I can fit my entire hand. So that'll fit any clamp that I use down there. Everything can slide around with ease until I actually start to clamp everything together. Plenty wide enough, plus I got an extra 3 or 4 inches here, a couple inches there. And I'm going to be honest, I think it looks pretty awesome. I think I would even dare to say she's pretty. My Unistrut sets in there real nice. Grab my jig. This is really easy to hold with these handholds. Slide it right up there, boom. And that's where that will live. That is perfect. All right, let's go ahead, turn her on. All right, let's bring back our checklist and see how we did, guys. Number 1 on the gotta be organized, and I think it absolutely is. All the pieces will stay together with this jig. It will be in one central location. So anytime I need to do a panel glue up, I can go to that location, right there on the wall, grab it, put it on my workbench. We are good to go, no more searching. So check mark there for the organized. Number 2, does this have dedicated parts? Absolutely. These Unistrut calls will only be used for this jig, so I won't be tempted to take a piece off and go use it somewhere else like a shelf support or something like that. So check mark there. Number 3, is this more useful? Absolutely. These calls are longer. My whole system is wider and longer altogether, so I can accommodate wider panels, so it's definitely more useful. Check mark there. Is this thing pretty? Absolutely. This deserves a double check mark. I love the way it turned out. I love the 3D printed plastic with the industrial grade Unistrut there. I think it's a great look, so double check mark there. And then, does it get the cherry on top, wall hung? Well, absolutely. You saw that. This thing is hung up on the wall in a perfect spot, so we get the cherry on top. So I think we did a great job with this one, guys. I think we knocked this one out of the park. Everything is tucked away. This doesn't really stick out all that far. I got my Unistrut tucked behind it, so now anytime I need to do a panel glue up, come over here, grab this, bring it over to the workbench, and I am ready to go. Absolutely love it. If you guys feel I deserved it, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe. Drop me a comment down below. That'll help this channel grow. Things haven't been going too well on YouTube. Views have been down, likes have been down, comments have been down. So, hey, if you guys like this video, change that around. Let's get all that stuff up. Let's get this channel growing. Thanks for the support. And as always, until next time, take it easy.